There are 3 AI layers I use to 10x my productivity. Layer 1, 2x's my output. Layers 2 and 3, 10x my output by getting AI workflows to do all the work for me. But there is a 4th layer that could take me to well over 10 times my current productivity. And by the end of this video, I will show you the exact skills needed to build and use the 4th layer. Let's dive in. Layer 1, you're probably already familiar with it, so let's not spend too much time on it. Layer 1 is using LLM chatbots, the likes of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. They save me time from doing research, creating slides, drafting emails, summarizing large documents, brainstorming ideas on how to grow my business, and more. I just ask, they answer. Easy enough that we can already move to layer 2. But before we do so, just 3 notes to keep in mind. Number 1, the help layer 1 can provide is limited to the data it was trained on and the internet access the designers might have given it. But if I ask it a simple question like, is my calendar free today? It cannot answer. Number 2, although it seems very simple to interact with LLMs, there is actually a well-defined framework to use when writing prompts to get the most out of them. If you're interested in this, I've made a video about it that's up here, where I summarize Google's 4-hour course into a 10 minutes video. If you're serious about learning AI, go and watch it. Number 3, if you're diving into AI, you might hear terms being thrown around, making things sound really complicated. An example that keeps coming up lately is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. All it means is before or during answering, the LLM retrieves relevant context from an external storage. An example would be when you use an enterprise LLM that's been trained on your company's data. That LLM might retrieve company-only related information and use that as input to generate a grounded response for you. Alright, let's move to layer 2. By the way, LLM stands for Large Language Model. Call that because the AI is trained on vast amount of text and code datasets. Chat apps like ChatGPT often have multiple models under the hood though. Example, it has an LLM for text interaction and reasoning, and it has a diffusion model for anything to do with images, called DALL-E. Alright, layer 2. Automation workflows using tools like Make and N8N. Automation workflows are human-defined, sequential steps in a tool like Make, N8N, or Zapier that manipulate and transform data without the need of code or a very little amount of code. Maybe there is an LLM like ChatGPT as one of the steps, maybe there isn't. Here is an example I use in real life to grow my business by automating lead acquisition, saving days of work at a time. I have a list of 951 dentists' names, their email address, and their website, stored in a Google Sheet. And I want to market my AI automation services to them. So how can I send each and every one of them a personalized message to increase my chances of making a sale without spending weeks researching each individual and writing an email to each of them? Well, I set up an automation workflow to automatically draft a personalized email for each of them that features my AI automation services. How does it work? The automation workflow reads through each line of the Google Sheet, calls a web crawler using an application called Apify to visit each dentist website and scrape them. The workflow then populates a column in the Google Sheet with each of the dentist website details. Then ChatGPT uses that information and the dentist name to draft a personalized email intro known as an icebreaker for each dentist. I could also get ChatGPT to draft the entire email if I wanted to. The workflow does these sets of actions for each dentist until the list runs out. Simple enough. Such a workflow already more than 3x's my output. To go through the entire sheet with the limited software plans that I am on took the workflow 2 days. But of course, it could be accelerated if I upgraded the plans. On the other hand, if I had to go through 951 websites myself and manually typing on a keyboard, draft 951 personalized emails, it would surely take me more than a week. Or if I had to outsource the tasks of going through each website and summarizing them to a virtual assistant, then giving that information to a professional copywriter to draft the emails, it would cost me way more than $90 a month that I currently pay for the automation package. Another example of an automation workflow I use is to get the workflow to watch my inbox for new business leads that come through. If a lead comes through, the workflow qualifies the lead by evaluating how likely it is that the lead will buy my AI automation services from me. The workflow then automatically puts the lead in the CRM, drafts a response for the lead, then alerts me in Slack that a lead just came through and that there is a draft response ready for me to review and send. Alright, let's go to layer 3, Agentic workflows. In contrast to automation workflow, an agentic workflow lets an LLM choose at a runtime which tools to use and which path to take or branch out to. The LLM can choose whether to complete the process or whether to request more information first, or you can choose to do nothing. React style, another acronym often used to make things sound more complicated than they actually are. React just means reason and act. It means the LLM, number 1, reasons through what's needed next, given the goal and context. Number 2, acts by choosing a path and or tool. This is where branching happens. 3, observes the tool's result. 4, loops through until it's ready to return a final answer or decision, which might include do nothing. An agentic workflow means the LLM is a tool using step-by-step decision maker and not just a component completing an assigned task in a fixed path like in an automation workflow. But that decision-making ability does not make the LLM an AI agent, and you will see why soon. Going back to the scraping the website and creating a personalized email example. If after scraping a dentist's website and having the goal of maximizing the likelihood of having a conversation with the dentist, the LLM has to decide between one of two options on its own, then the LLM is operating within an agentic workflow. Here is an example of two options it might need to choose between. 1. The dentist's website has layout issues and no booking information, so the LLM should draft and send a 3 slides website optimization pitch deck to the dentist. Or number 2, the dentist's website is fine, so the LLM should instead send an email to the dentist pitching my speed to lead AI service that could increase the number of booked customers for the dentist. The key here is that the LLM, not hard-coded rules, make the decision of what path to follow for the task to be successfully completed. These 3 levels of AI are already enough to 10x your productivity. They can be used in many different ways to automate your repetitive tasks or processes within your business. But there is a 4th layer, and if you can achieve that, you might be the first solopreneur with a 1 billion valuation unicorn startup that's been talked about in the media a lot lately. So let's look at AI layer 4 and move beyond 10x productivity. Layer 4, AI agents, true agentic AI. So what makes a true AI agent? Goal seeking. An AI agent is goal seeking. It has one big ongoing goal it's trying to achieve. Example, hit 20 booked calls this week, or save me $1,000 this month. In contrast, an agentic workflow has a per run task goal. Example, personalize and send this email now. Autonomy. Although it's still a guardrailed system, an AI agent has vastly more autonomy than an agentic workflow. It decides to act or not each cycle based on its state and main goal. It runs its tasks when it decides to. In contrast, an agentic workflow only runs when it's triggered by a click, webhook, or schedule. Here is a simple illustration of what a true agent might do. Building this in real life, however, is hard. Not impossible, but hard. To save me $1,000 this month, the AI agent could cancel or downgrade my subscriptions. It could enforce a weekly spend cap by moving money between my sub-accounts. Or if my car and bank support it, it could lock my electric vehicle at night or pause my virtual fuel card to decrease my expense on fuel. It does whatever moves it towards the goal once I've connected the services and granted the necessary permissions for accounts, devices, APIs, etc. Which leads us to tools. In agentic workflows, how the tools are used is pre-written. Even if the workflow branches on an LLM decision, it's still picking amongst tools using if-then rules you defined for this run, and then it stops. With AI agents, tool use is goal-driven and adaptive. The AI agent chooses the next tool or none from the allowed set based on progress. And if needed, it can change tomorrow's plan, reorder tools, reallocate time, or schedule new tool runs to keep pushing towards completing its main goal. Reasoning. AI agents stop to think. It could go something like this. If I use the search tool first, then I will know the right answer that will help me to write the email. Again, for illustration only. From looking at past transactions, the AI agent might think, it looks like Olivier buys a lot of $6 lattes. So to save him money, I should block his credit card every time he tries to do such a transaction. An AI agent can reason across time. It reasons about its own progress and knows how far it is from the goal. It replans day to day, and doing nothing for a while can be part of his strategy. In comparison, an agentic workflow reasons within its current run. It decides on the next tool to use or branch to take to proceed with the current run only. Memory. An agentic workflow can save stuff, but it doesn't really use that history to change how it's supposed to act. An AI agent, on the other hand, treats memory as a must-have. It uses past result to adapt strategy, to reweigh resources, change short-term targets, and even retire metrics across runs. It does whatever helps to hit the main goal. So it's possible for an AI agent to over time start to know what you like, for it to stop making the same mistakes, and much more. Back to the $1,000 savings example. An AI agent might go like this. Oh, I blocked credit card 1 the other day, but then he used credit card 2 to make this unnecessary transaction. So now I know that when he's about to make a stupid transaction that's distracting him from his saving goals, I should block both cards. There are a bunch of other criteria that you can use to evaluate whether you're dealing with an agentic flow or an AI agent. Here is a list. Feel free to pause the video so you can take a screenshot and save it for later. Building a true AI agent is a hard engineering problem, and it's unlikely to be implemented in just 10 minutes. If you've been watching AI tutorials on YouTube lately, most of them talk about AI Layer 3 agentic workflows like they are Layer 4 AI agents for the marketing hype. They give the impression that it's easy to create an AI agent. This even includes the software platform N8N that calls a component that's mostly used in agentic workflows AI agent. I guess it's also easier to say AI agent as opposed to agentic workflow, but there is a distinction. Why? An AI agent is not write a clever prompt and give it internet access. A real agent needs approvals, reliability, safety, and a written brain. For its brain, you need to define rules it operates under. You define the goal, the loop, plan, act, check, adjust, what it should remember, which basket of tools it has access to, what goal it should be pursuing, how it learns needs to be defined. It needs to remember what worked over time and might need to change next week's plan. It might need to raise or lower the short-term targets, swap tactics, move time blocks, like a real strategist. It needs access to all the resources. You might need to give it access and connect it to accounts and define what it's allowed to do with those accounts. If it's roaming the internet, it might face captchas or two-factor authentication, meaning it needs to know when to pass action back to you. What if the sites it usually browses to operate change? Example, a button that it usually uses is no longer there. It needs to figure out what to do. What's the plan B? What about safety? It needs to know its limits. It needs to know that if it's going to perform a drastic change, it might need to ask for permission. That's why many so-called AI agent demos are really agentic workflows. But being able to create or purchase true AI agents to help with work is how you can truly exceed 10x output and really boosting your productivity. You can see how one person equipped with these goal-seeking helpers could truly become a one-person company because they basically act like humans, able to achieve things without hand-holding. But to create an AI agent, some engineering know-how is needed, like system thinking principles, some computer science techniques. So learning those might help. Imagine where this tech will be in 10 years. Would you still have a job then? Or would AI agent replace you by then? Let me know what you think in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, you're going to love this one up here, where I took Google's 4 hours AI essential course and turned it into a 10-minute video just for you. If you're serious about boosting your AI knowledge, it's worth a watch. If you want support along your AI journey, feel free to join our community of online builders. The link is in this video's description down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.